Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
Went into the snow.
Yeah.
And we were like, what did we do?
Right.
So we were out there for about 2.5 years.
A little bit of a shock.
Which was enough New Jersey, enough East Coast for me. Nothing against it, you know, but like my father-in-law says, if the Pilgrims would have landed on the West Coast, the East Coast would still be a forest. So,
he's not wrong.
Oh, no.
I love that.
But
oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you move out there. That's quite a shock.
Yes.
Right? And you're out there 2.5 years.
Yes.
And it sounds like you're missing California, like when you step out of your 4Runner, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, I gotta be thinking about my way back.
Yeah, and I mean that was, you know, Ashley and I've been married 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
We were getting into the twilight of our 20s.
Yeah.
And said, you know what, let's figure out life. Again, you know, a couple years earlier, it's like, okay, we have jobs, we have different states. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna figure out? And then, you know, saying we want a family, we want to be parents, we want to be near family, we want, you know, that cliche of, you know, going to school, going to church, you know, raising our family.
Yeah.
And we said, we're not going to do that out here.
Yeah.
So
not in Jersey.
No, and unfortunately, the way it worked out is, you know, this would have been the recession.
Yeah.
So 08, 09.
Yeah.
So I had the privilege of getting laid off not once but twice.
Oh my goodness.
I think everybody got laid off at one point there. And it was a good opportunity to just push us back.
Yeah.
And so we were able, you know, we're blessed to have an opportunity to come out here.
Sure.
And we've been here ever since.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. So you got laid off twice.
Yes.
And so you're looking for a job and you end up finding one out here at KFMB.
Before that, I was at Channel 6.
Okay, so Channel 6 first.
Channel 6, then Channel 8, KFMB for 5.5 years.
Right. And that's where we met.
That's where we met. Yep. And you always light up our morning whenever you came in.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was great. And then from there,
Dan and I had great energy.
yes, Dan and Michelle, they were
We
good
just
team.
completely hit it off. Yeah.
So
Love Michelle.
then I took a job at KNSD.
Mm-hmm.
So went back to where, you know, I had been, and it was an interesting kind of homecoming because so many of the people that I'd worked with were still there.
Yeah.
Which was nice because, you know, it's a local station, it has a local feel. That the people that are there, we have some folks that come in, you know, they're going to come in from Tucson, Phoenix, Vegas, wherever, move up to San Diego, move up to LA, you know, move up to network. So we do have a good amount of folks that pass through, but at the same time, we've got folks, you know, 30, 40, 40 years that have raised their families in this community that know the issues that San Diego cares about.
And know the history, yeah.
Yes, because they're San Diegans and can point to, you know, how we got to where we are now.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that about that newsroom.
Yeah.
And so
It's a good group, it really
been back
is.
there for 7 years now. And, you know, about 4 years ago, moved into management, which is different, you know. And so was an executive producer, and then earlier this year became managing editor.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Very well deserved.
Yeah, it's thank you. It's different. I've learned, you know, I enjoy management. My dad spent a majority of his career in it. And so listening to those conversations of coming home and talking about issues and talking about people and talking about you know, what other people are facing in their lives and their work and everything else, in that it's an amazing opportunity. And I love it, just being able to build a product, build an audience, build a newscast, but build relationships with my coworkers. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's a good group. It really is. Okay, so you're at 739. You're now the managing editor. So you're basically running the whole show.
Sometimes.
Well,
no.
right?
No.
But you're basically running the show.
I manage our content.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's what, you know, we have an editorial meeting in a room like this. You know, we've got a table with 18 chairs in it.
Okay.
And we meet at 9 a.m. and it's, you know, like any other industry, what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, here are the issues that we want to know about. Here's the answers that we want to get. Here's the fun things that we want to cover. Here's the good things that are happening in our community. Here's the bad things that are happening in our community. That we work for San Diego.
Right.
That we don't have an agenda. We don't have, you know, a preconceived notion of what we're going into doing that day. Obviously, we have some planning. We have some long-term pieces. But, you know, we are big enough to cover the issues that San Diego wants to know about. We're nimble enough to be able to turn on a dime.
Yeah.
And being a duopoly, I think, you know, not to plug the station too much, but I don't know if people realize at home that, you know, we are Telemundo 20 and NBC 7.
Yeah.
We are in the same newsroom. We are having the same editorial meetings. That this is one newsroom with two different voices.
Right.
And to be able to take up an issue like Title 42, really the huge story for the nation, big story for San Diego, big story for a lot of people, and be able to explain that issue in two different voices.
Yeah.
Of, okay, what does it mean to our different audiences?
Yeah.
And it was just an interesting opportunity to be able to be in one newsroom and handle that situation.
Yeah, so Title 42 was a big deal and you guys handled it really well. The other thing that I felt like you handled really well, and I feel like Telemundo was a part of it, a big part of it, was when COVID hit and they shut down the border.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of people that we worked with, and next week, the following week, we weren't working with them anymore because they were stuck in Mexico.
That was, you know, our newsroom was the same way.
That took some real balance on your part to sort of navigate all that, and I thought you all did a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah. You know, I think.
I mean, I'm biased, of course. I'm one of your biggest fans. You know
well,
that.
thank you. The pandemic.
But you did do a good job.
The pandemic was interesting because I think it helped leapfrog our industry 15 years forward.
Yeah.
That, you know, we realized that when we need to talk to a real estate expert, you know, investing expert, that we would love to drive up to your office and sit there and set up our camera and bring it in and everything else. But at the same time, it's fire up your ring light, get on StreamYard or QuickLink or Zoom or whatever, and let's talk.
Yeah.
That the amount of information and experts that we were able to connect with and still connect with has really been amazing. And I think that's every industry, that, you know, you are so close to the top experts, engineers, researchers, doctors in their field. And so as journalists, being able to know who to go to, and that we can turn it around so much quicker.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. So I thoroughly enjoyed the interview that I did with one of your reporters. We met out where the Encinitas statue is, the surfing. What do they call him? I forget what they call him.
Cardiff Kook.
Yeah, Kook. Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. So we met out there, and it went really well. You know, it was out in the open, and it was cool. So it was cool. So all right. So growing up, who was the most influential person in your life?
I'm gonna say, I mean, it has changed throughout my life.
Okay.
That's me stalling for more time to get.
That's
into the
okay.
answer.
That's okay.
No, it really is my dad.
Okay.
You know, that, and even in adulthood and, you know, parenting, it's my dad. of being able to see the hard work, the sacrifices that he's made, the dedication to his family, and those magical moments that you build out with your parents or your mentor or different people in your life that it's not the big conversations that you sit down and have. It's the everyday moment, everyday events that turn into moments.
Yeah, it's true, and that's parenting, right?
Yes.
And it's your dad parenting you, and then you parenting your kids.
Yes.
And then you're reporting back to your dad about,
Yeah.
here's what they just did. Here's what just happened, right?
My dad has this knack. He's an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
He's an engineer. He's a manager. Worked in biomedical, and he's always had a project. He's always been a project person. That you go out into his garage, and workbench. The classic workbench covered in paint and loose screws with a vise over here. Old AM radio blasting KTOK on it. The fluorescent light that hangs from the top of the garage with the orange extension cord coming across. And there was always a project, whether it was our Pinewood Derby cars, whether it was working on speakers or building something, he always had a project. And it was great because you could walk out there and you could sit down and you would learn, he would teach you something. At work, his work was project based. With kids, my brother and sister and I would talk about, which one of us were the project child for my dad, and so there was always projects going on in the house. We had a neighbor that gifted us / gave us his old pinball machine.
Ooh.
This was I think like a 1967 Gulfstream game made by Williams. It was huge. It was the size of a horse.
Yeah.
And so this thing ended up in our garage, and it worked. But some of the servos were out, and again, this was not a new pinball machine.
Right.
This was the one where you open the board and all the electronics are in there, and it's just amazing. And him ordering the new flippers, the new bumpers, the new everything to get this thing just up and running, and we played that thing for another 15 years.
Yeah. And it's several 100,000 miles on it, and then you put another few 100,000 on it.
Yes. So,
That's cool.
Yeah, the cars were projects. It was always projects.
Yeah.
Our neighbors probably thought we were junky, but we were working on stuff.
There you go.
Yep.
So my dad told me when I was 18, he said, "You're looking at me like I'm an idiot right now, but one of these days I'm going to be a genius in your eyes." And I had to call him a few years ago and tell him he made genius level.
Yes.
That was one of those really interesting moments, man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what's your favorite thing about what you do for a living?
I like being able to connect with people.
Yeah.
And I'm now that I'm in management, I'm one more kind of step removed from it. But I'll give you an example of a story today.
Sure.
And it's not a happy story, but it's a San Diego story. There was a fire this morning in Lemon Grove.
Okay.
And inside this 3-bedroom home were 11 people living in this home.
Oh my goodness.
And these are folks that, in my opinion, they're either on their way up or on their way out, on their way down. That, you have 11 people that are renting spaces inside a home in Lemon Grove at $150 a month.
Wow.
Not renting rooms, renting spaces.
Yeah.
And it's a roof over their head. And the guy that owns this house, he lives there, he's taking the money from the people that are there and, trying to put a roof over their head, put it towards his mortgage. They're sharing in the cooking and the groceries and everything else. It catches fire. And these 11 people that didn't have a whole lot to begin the day with,
Right.
have even less to end it with.
Right.
And the Red Cross will help them. But, they are, one house fire away from being on the streets of San Diego.
Yeah.
And
True.
there's so many factors that go into that of housing prices, bureaucracy over programs, personal life choices. That there's so many factors that are unique to San Diego, but at the same time not, that puts 11 people in one house in Lemon Grove that now are 11 people without a house because of a fire.
Yeah, and where in the world are you going to find a place for $150 a month?
Right. And so, it's one of those that, personally, am I impacted by it? No. Internally and spiritually, I'm impacted? Yes, because I feel for these people. I think we all do. And this is not, we can talk policy all day, but for these 11 people, this is a people problem. This is a housing problem now. And I can't tell you what the solution is. That's not my job.
Yeah.
My job is to say there are 11 people that now don't have a home anymore.
Right. This is a problem.
And, because of our work, you know about this. The viewers know about this. The readers know about this. It's going to be on your Instagram feed. You know what's happening in these neighborhoods. This is not just the block that it impacts anymore. There are a lot of people in that situation. And so just being able to share those stories.
Yeah.
So
I walked a property yesterday. I walk properties all the time, you know that. And I walked property yesterday, and Monday, my 23-year-old daughter came to work with me.
Yeah, I saw that.
Monday was her first
Congratulations.
day. Yeah. So my goodness, right?
You can't fire her.
And but she was talking about quitting today because apparently working for Dad is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, Dad. Right? And she told my wife this afternoon, her mother, that her top of her head was about to blow off. Because apparently Dad is a lot, Anyway, but I was explaining to her that there are certain electrical panels that are fire hazards, and when you come across these particular electrical panels, they're going to get called out. The home inspector is going to call them out, the whole thing. And so one of the things that we do is we let buyers know this is a Zensco panel. It's already it was a class action lawsuit. It's already been adjudged to be fire hazard, all that. And it has to be replaced. Here's the thing. Do you have any idea how many houses I've walked? We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.